I moved into an ashram at the age of 22 and I lived there for 23 years, just simply dedicating my whole moment to moment to finding who I was, what I was. Simultaneously, I was studying at a traditional yoga school for the same amount of time, 23 years, the science of life, integral yoga. And then I started to teach and mentor people on their self-realization path. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because these 30 years of experience have allowed me to see clearly what works and what doesn't on the spiritual path, in the spiritual process, what is most effective and what isn't, what is necessary and what isn't, and what is sufficient and what isn't. So that basically allowed me to respond to my desire that I had for the spiritual seeker to completely avoid the unnecessary suffering, effort, or efforting that I have been through myself because of not knowing these essential things, the phases of the spiritual process, the exact stages we are going through, and the exact tools to use in every stage, and how to identify where I am at, right? All that clarity allows for avoiding all the unnecessary suffering and struggle and effort that otherwise are being put in a direction that will not bring you to knowing your true nature. So because of this experience, I was able to fulfill my dream that now became my legacy, to give the spiritual seeker a place where he and she can have all of these pieces necessary and sufficient for the spiritual path in one place. And this is how the Academy of Being was born. Welcome to the Academy of Being, dedicated solely to the knowing of our shared being. The purpose, the mission of the Academy of Being is to support seekers on the path of self-realization to clarify, streamline, and boost their spiritual process. In all those 30 years of experience on a spiritual path, first as a seeker, then as a finder, then as a teacher and mentor, working with many seekers on the path, they give me the opportunity to look in hindsight, to overview the vast landscape of spiritual teachings and understand what I was missing in my own process, that if I would have known, would have made my life easier. I could have streamlined my spiritual process, have a more coherent journey, and I could have avoided a lot of suffering that came from that confusion, fumbling, not knowing exactly where I was going and what exact exercise to use to get to where I was going. So it was quite a confused struggle for about 20 years. Now, why it took me 20 years to realize that I already am that which I seek, I don't know. That was just the way it was. But I know that it did give me the possibility to now have this overview and understand how we can improve this. So, and the most beautiful thing was that what I found that I was missing in my spiritual process, I found that those same things were missing from the practices and understanding of the people that I worked with over the past 10 years. These things that, if I knew, would have made my life easier, my journey more coherent and maybe not easy, but more smooth, more effective, where first of all, I did not have a clear step-by-step practice exercise which was precise and reliable that I could use in any moment of my life to trace my way back to my pure being, to my true being, to myself. So no clear method so that could be applied in the midst of the challenge, so that I can free myself right there and then from emotional suffering, stress, whatever was going on. That was something that I truly wanted, and I found myself wondering at the end of every teaching, okay, but how do I get there? How do I get there? How do I do that? Tell me exactly, the exact steps. That was something that was missing from all the spiritual teachings that I found. Step by step, clear, precise, simple, instantly applicable, reliable method. So that's something that the number one thing that I did not have in the beginning, that I feel would have made my life incredibly, I think 1,000 times more easy and more clear and precise and effective. The second thing was that I did not know how to deal with my emotional suffering. And I find that with all the people that I work with and everything that I hear from the spiritual seekers, this is the place where most people feel lost. When it comes to emotional suffering, they don't know exactly with clarity how to deal and heal from emotional suffering. And that is also something that, of course, I have included in the Academy of Being. The third thing that I found was missing was then how to stabilize. After I have found myself, knew that I was awareness itself through direct experience, how to stabilize that felt understanding and how to align my body-mind to that felt understanding that I am awareness, I am consciousness in my human life, in my day-to-day thinking, feeling, interactions, relationships, activities. And lastly, I would say, of course, the exact knowing of the stages of this realization process is so important, to have clarity about them so that you can know where you are at and where you are going and what tool to use in the stage that you are at. So this is how I would sum up the entire curriculum of the Academy of Being in the seasonal online retreats, as well as in the academic year, where we go obviously deeper. But mainly these are the essential, sufficient and necessary tools that I will say we need on the spiritual path in order to feel knowledgeable, confident, and go about our journey with the peace that we know what we are doing, we know where we are at, and we know what tool to use, because we have all in one place. So this was my desire, this was my legacy, to create a place where the seeker has everything in one place, in a coherent way, mapped out, knowing exactly where you are and what to use in the stage that you are at. So if you are someone who feels still confused about the spiritual process, you feel something fundamental is missing, you feel that you are not getting satisfactory results, you feel that you haven't found yourself yet, or you don't know how to maintain, sustain your awareness as awareness itself in the midst of your day-to-day, and you easily forget, If you find that there is not enough joy, peace, love, wisdom in your life, or you feel that you're not really at peace with your overall spiritual journey, then this might just be right for you. It is important to know that at the Academy of Being, we do the approach is the pathless path, meaning we already are that which we are, so we start with the end goal, which is finding yourself. It's not about seeking. The spiritual process begins once you've awakened to your true nature, once you know who you are as awareness, as consciousness. And then the aligning of the body-mind to that felt understanding is what follows as a gradual process. I wanted the Academy of Being to have all those characteristics I did not have as I was going through it, and that is simplicity, clarity, precision, reliability, instant applicability. And I feel that is so important to have in order to feel confident in what you are doing, to feel at ease, to know that you are doing the right thing, you are on the right path, you are going in the right direction. So you no longer doubt yourself, feel insecure, uncertain about your process. In other words, you go in it with your full power, having all this clarity and simplicity. If this speaks to you, if you find yourself in these categories that I mentioned above, you are welcome to join us for the autumn retreat. Registration is now open and ends in October the 10th. We will begin our first class in October 24th. This is an 8-week intensive packed up with essentialized teachings, so right to the point teachings, and all the methodologies that you've heard me mention above about what I felt was missing. Now, of course, in 2 months, you are not going to go to the deepest depth of your experience, but you will have the clarity, the map of the process, and all the tools that are necessary for every stage. We will clarify everything for you. We have teaching, experiencing practice in every live call, live class. We have mentoring and Q&A. And so you can ask all the questions to get clarity, and then you have access to the recordings of these classes for life. Mastering these potent spiritual exercises is the key to attaining that awareness of yourself as the pure being that you are, and being able to know yourself as the presence of awareness in the midst of your day-to-day experiences and challenges. And that is what gives you that sense of openness, safety, that comes along with that peace and joy and opening up to life, allowing all that resistance to fall away, because now you feel safe in yourself. Why? Because you know who you are. So we are dedicating our work, we can call it that. I don't want to make this sound difficult, but it does take dedication and commitment. So if this speaks to you, if you're willing to put in the work, I welcome you in the autumn online retreat by the Academy of Being. As I said, registration is open. Please go to the link below this video to sign up to join us. And if you feel this video is something that would help someone that you know who is on this path and is having challenges, then please feel free to share this video. and come back for more. I'm gonna be sharing a lot of my experiences here on this YouTube channel. And I hope to see you inside the Autumn Online Retreat. I welcome you with all my heart, and I will see you there.